Well, good morning, boys and girls.
Good morning, everyone.
It is so wonderful to be with you this morning. I know we're not together in person, and that would be better, but I'm glad that we get to spend this time together this morning. I'm Rob.
I'm Robert.
And we're so excited to be able to share this story with you this morning. But before we do all of that, let's say our Children's Creed together. Repeat after me. I believe in God above.
I believe in God above.
I believe in Jesus' love.
I believe in Jesus' love.
I believe the Spirit too
I believe the Spirit too
comes to teach me what to do.
comes to teach me what to do.
God be in my head.
God be in my head.
God be in my heart.
God be in my heart.
God be in my whole life.
God be in my whole life.
Amen.
Amen.
Now, Robert, I'd like to share a story with you about when I was maybe the age of our young Sunday school children here. I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and a number of the teachers at my school were retiring or moving on to somewhere else. But there was one year where there was like 3 or 4 teachers who we'd all come to know and love who left all at once. And I remember so clearly the school gathering all of the students together, the people who had been in their classes, and sitting us down with the teachers and just explaining that the fact that they were all leaving at once didn't say anything about us as students, didn't mean they didn't love us. It just meant that it was time for them to move on somewhere else. And those kinds of changes, or transitions, are perfectly normal. And so it was really important that the school and the teachers that we loved understood, or made sure that we understood, that their leaving didn't say anything about us. And all these years later, I really am grateful for my school for doing that, because it showed just how much they cared about us. Now, I loved some of those teachers because they were inspiring and they led the classroom really well. I wonder what you think makes a really good leader.
Well, like you, I think a good leader is someone who inspires you to do your best, and someone who encourages you to do all the things that you should do.
Yeah, absolutely. And a good leader, I think, is someone who's looking out for the people who are maybe not being as seen by everyone else. You know, making sure that the people who maybe have a little less or need a little more help are getting what they need, so that we can all share fairly with the resources and the gifts around us. Now, you've had lots of teachers being a musician.
I have.
I wonder what it's like when one of those beloved teachers has to say goodbye, or you have to say goodbye.
Well, I remember when I was in 4th grade, my piano teacher, who I loved a lot, suddenly had to move away and go back to school, and I was really sad when he left.
Yeah. But I assume you got a new piano teacher.
I did.
And what were some of the good things about getting a new teacher?
Well, the new teacher gave me some different perspectives, different ways of working on things, and it was just a new relationship. And she was fantastic, but in completely different ways than my first teacher.
Yeah, so bringing in new perspectives and new ideas.
Right.
I love that. Well, the reason we're talking about teachers and leaders today is because we're talking about Moses. Moses, you may remember, was the leader of the Israelite people. He saved them from slavery in Egypt. He led them across the Red Sea and through the wilderness to the Promised Land. But one day, unfortunately, Moses died, and the people were really sad. I want you to have a look at this picture that's coming up on your screen now. When Moses died, the people, like I said, were really sad because of his death. And so they mourned, which is a fancy way of saying they were sad together. They cried, they comforted one another, they consoled one another. But then they celebrated his life, and they remembered all the wonderful things that Moses had done for him, even as they welcomed in their new leader, who was a man named Joshua. And so the Israelites went through a time of transition, like we said, which is just a fancy word for a big change. And sometimes transitions bring uncertainty with them. We don't always know what's going to happen on the other side. So transitions, which is moving from one thing to another, can be uncomfortable. They can be hard. But God was with the people all through that transition from Moses to Joshua. And God cared for the people during that time. And in the same way, when we go through hard transitions, kind of like we're doing right now with this ongoing sickness that is everywhere, God is loving and caring for us, even in the midst of our uncertainty. Now, I wonder, children, what are some of the transitions that you see with leaders going on in the world today? There's a really big one coming up. Do you know what it is? Shout it out. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the presidential election here in the United States. And things like that are so important because that person, whoever wins the election, will be our leader for the next 4 years. And it's really important that we have someone who shares our values, whatever those values are. And so it's important to really think about who our leaders are. Now, sometimes changes in leadership can be good. I wonder what ways might a change in leadership be good, do you think? Shout them out for me. Uh-huh, that's a good one, yeah. What's another one? I like that reason a lot. Robert, what are some reasons you think a change in leadership might be good?
I think it's just a new perspective, a new way of doing things, new ideas.
Yeah, sometimes we find the old ideas aren't working as well as they used to,
Right.
and so some new ideas need to come in. But it's always hard because we're always familiar, or we always like what's familiar and tend to resist what's new. But sometimes change can be good, but it can almost always be hard and difficult. But in the midst of all of that and uncertainty, God is with us. God is caring for us. And that's comforting and good news. And I'd like you to pray with me. Dear God, thank you for calling people to be leaders. Help all leaders be wise, caring, and compassionate, and help us to be good leaders too. Amen.
Amen.
Now, Robert, we talked a lot about how God cares for us, and especially as a leader, God cares for us. I wonder if there's a song we might be able to sing that helps us really remember that God cares for us.
There's a great song I just ran across yesterday called "God Cares for You."
It's amazing. It's almost as if, Robert, that every week we've talked about this beforehand, and you just are able to find the right song.
Well, it's your inspired leadership that helps me just know what to do.
We're co-leaders here. We do this together.
That's true, right?
Well, Robert, if you'd like to lead us in the song, and the music's going to come up on your screen, so I hope you'll sing along with us.
Here we go. Don't be afraid. Don't be upset. God will provide. God won't forget. God cares for you. God cares for me. God's always there with me and you. Sometimes things change. God helps us through. God cares for you. God cares for me.
Well, that was perfect. That is exactly what I needed to be reminded of right now. Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
Well, unfortunately, children, it is that time where we have to say goodbye for today, but I look forward to seeing you all soon. And before we go, let's say the Lord's Prayer together, and the words are going to come up on your screen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, thanks for joining us today, boys and girls. I hope whatever the rest of your Sunday looks like, it is awesome. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. God bless. Bye.
Bye.